the Tavern at the end of the internet, where we talk about the internet as a community and industry and any news that floats through our doors. Come take a seat. My name's Reese.
And my name's James.
So what do we got on the cards for the first one today? This is some actual ridiculous stuff today. Out of all that could have occurred, today has been a real rocker.
Yeah, it was interesting. Just yesterday we were saying, oh, maybe we can talk about this thing or this. There's not much to talk about. And then 11 hours ago, Susan Wojcicki, nailed it. First time the charm. She announced that they are partnering YouTube with UMG, which is Universal Music Group, to remaster some iconic music videos for YouTube. It's putting it like that. It sounds really, really good. There's actually the lovely Tavern here has actually let me borrow the tablet today, and I've been able to find a few bits and pieces about this. And there's been a really positive article by The Verge about how we're going to have a lot of really, really great old music. Some things even from 1991 and all the way back to Queen in the, I think it was the early 70s, when they had a few videos, and it's just going to be this great time, and they're going to make them all HD again. It's going to be fantastic. But one really important thing to stress here, as far as how, even if you want to be a complete optimist, it's just the videos. Look, it's music. I understand the video is an integral part, but they're just remastering the videos.
I think that's actually a really good point, because even when you think back to last episode, the pilot, let me just try some beer real quick, glug, glug, glug. Oh, wait, hang on, that really adds a lot to this not visual medium.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing here, and it's like, I don't watch a music video to watch the music video. If I want to listen to a video on YouTube with a song, I'll put it on, turn off my screen, and listen to it.
I think that anyone missing a bit of context here may be wondering why we're complaining about, obviously, just a company that's helping out the people, and that's the fact that they're going through YouTube to do this.
The main place, it's the best place in all of the internet to find all your favorite music from the years gone by. Everybody who clicks on that knows that UMG are the masters of YouTube. They make such a hella good living on YouTube.
So, more living than any of the actual creators.
I was going to say, it's almost like a equivalent exchange here. You can't have one without the other, or at least, equal parts. I can't think of it. What the actual quote is.
I'm sorry, you failed Weeb College. You're done.
I know. I can't believe it. I just know equivalent exchange.
So, what's happened here, at least the reputation that UMG has, is every time a video has a song in it, even if it applies under fair use, they'll claim the video and take all the money from it. Now, if a song appears even for a fraction of a second, they'll claim the whole video. And here's the kicker: if the song doesn't appear in the video, they'll claim the video anyway. Because if you want to find it, you have to take them to court, and they have more money than your average small creator.
Yeah, and a lawyer will be more than willing to stay and get as much as they want.
Or more importantly, they've got the money to wait out the storm. We sure as hell don't.
Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, it's like a lawyer's more than happy to sit there and get your money. They're not going to say no to that. And especially if you're sitting there trying to muster up funds with a GoFundMe or something, they're just going to be sitting there wiling up reasons why they're going to kick your ass.
Yeah, and just for complete transparency, for anyone who listens to the podcast, both Reese and I are YouTube creators. Neither of us have been hit by... Actually, Nick, you were hit, weren't you? Once?
No, I've been hit quite a lot, actually. Even, okay, you want to go as far as one night after I was out on stream, I got done because a Pink song was played in the background as I was crossing the street.
Oh yeah, it was playing out of a pub or something, right?
Yeah, it was. It was just out of one of the pubs.
Unlike our glorious Tavern, where not a single copyrighted song is heard ever.
That's exactly right. It was just some dumbass who made the opening song, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's just loops. Just loops. So this is annoying for so many reasons. I mean, if UMG wants to remaster these videos, it'll get them more views. Why not? You have... Let's say, I think one of the examples people are keen for is Smash Mouth. Smash Mouth is owned by UMG, which means we're going to get All-Star and stuff remastered. Great. Release All-Star, remastered. They're going to get a ton more money because people are going to watch it. It's this partnership. It's this partnership between YouTube. This is like your teacher siding with the bully in this situation.
It actually is, though. It's so bad.
And obviously, I mean, so the announcement was 11 hours ago. We've got 2,000 comments on this tweet,
Jesus.
and all of them are negative. like all of them are negative.
There's actually a tweet here that was on the Susan Wojcicki tweet from Max Mofo, and it was he put it very frankly, and I liked it, which was, "What response were you expecting when tweeting this? Surely not a positive one. Surely is all caps. You are potentially deranged. Give me the keys to the far out. Give me the keys to the tube. You're way too out of touch to drive." And
Yeah.
I've never read something and had such a fanboy-gasm, being like, yeah, you say it, man.
Stick it to the man.
Man, I need my 60s wig and the anarchy, bro.
So time has passed. I mean, most of these responses were within the hour. Huge creators, Mr. Beast, H3H3, you know, all of the large creators are just jumping in on this.
Jesus, there's heaps of them, actually. There's like even Leon Lush, Colossal.
Yeah, Grande, Dolan Dark.
So many.
Why not? Because if you've been personally affected by it, you'd be furious. And what have we got from YouTube? Pretty much the stock standard. We've got complete radio silence. Not a single response.
Oh my god, you're not even wrong. Like, it's not a thing. Actually, I'm just going to use the tablet real quick again. Yeah, the most recent tweet from Susan Wojcicki is that tweet again. Yeah, and she's completely ignored everything.
She probably saw this coming. She bloody posted that tweet, packed her car, and just went for a trip around America, checking out the Grand Canyon, catching up with the grandkids. Like she just realized, I don't need to be near Twitter for a while, you know.
I'll just leave this here. I wonder if she gets paid more to be a punching bag. Like, I
Maybe.
legitimately wonder sometimes if it's like, if Google are kind of like, hey, Susan, we need you to put out this tweet, but hey, look, if you don't want to do it, we understand, but look, we're going to offer you $300,000 this year if you'll do it.
Yeah, and she polishes
sure,
another bottle of tequila, and she's like, fucking let's do it. let's partner with the bad guy.
Let's partner with the bully, and all the other like nerds are sitting there looking at it going...
So, and as per usual, I mean, with any kind of drama, we've got boycotting. People saying they're going to boycott. The problem here is that, like, what are you boycotting? Because half of these people that are saying they're going to boycott are YouTube creators. That's like saying that like if your boss is annoying you, you're not going to show up to work, but you're a contractor that
so you don't get paid regardless.
Yeah, you're not going to get paid if you don't show up to work. And honestly, in this case, YouTube doesn't care. Now, and that's, I guess, kind of the main part here. Does YouTube care?
I really would like to think they do, and this is looking like the most ultimately optimistically I can.
Yeah.
I'd like to hope that they look and go, wow, I really hope these people don't get really mad about this.
Yeah, they look at 2,000 negative comments and go, Then again, I guess like in the state of the internet, 2,000 isn't that much. I mean, 2,000 in like 11 hours, that is quite spice. Like
that's actually interesting because Susan from memory only has about 200,000 followers. So for her to be doing that, that's 1% of her entire following, just saying, "Fuck you."
Yeah, I think that a lot of these tweets are just saying. I mean, these are still tweets. We're still waiting for a response. At the moment, I don't think the notion of a boycott concerns them at all. They would rather lose 5 million views than one advertiser. And that's just how that works. So like millions of people could go, I'm not going to watch these videos. And they go, that's fine. That's fine.
It's I don't know. It's actually super frustrating because all I want to see is people, get this. Actually, you know what'll probably happen? They'll probably turn around and be like, turns out, look, in regards to this, we understand what's happening. We turned the analytics green. I know that's what you wanted.
Turn down what?
No, you know how it's like the other day they were like, you know how you guys are wanting all this change about the copyright system? That's all right. We took away the in-depth numbers on the subscriber count.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's codes. There's...
No, speaking of which, Social Blade is still working.
Yeah, it's because it hasn't come into effect yet.
Did they give it... quickly catch up for audiences. YouTube gives very bad analytics, but there are websites out there that have figured out how to interpret the analytics as much better than they have. in response, instead of improving their analytics, they've effectively put in steps to shut down these people that are doing a better job than them. Nobody asked for this. It makes no sense. But as per usual, it makes no sense and it's a dumb thing to do. Just like this UMG thing. And at the moment, I haven't seen them go through with the Social Blade thing.
No, not yet. That's... I don't know.
On the horizon, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
if it's...
maybe when they finally they've announced the partnership, but maybe when they implement UMG, they're going to be like, maybe they won't notice us do the subscriptions.
Yeah, let's just
it's like
distract them from this, and then we'll make another controversy a few days down the line.
Distract them from a car crash with a murder sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, it's actually look. Actually no, I don't hate this. There's a scene. I think a lot of the listeners, if you guys have ever seen Family Guy, it's a few years ago, and it's a scene where Peter comes into the house talking to Lois, and she's like, "Where have you been, Peter?" And he's like, "Well, you know that thing you wanted, that ring you wanted from ages ago?" And she's like, "Yeah, I know that." And he's like, "That's right, I bought a horse." And it's like completely out of nowhere.
Makes
no sense.
Shocked and offended that you have mentioned Family Guy in a wholesome
I love
podcast.
Family Guy. Don't hate me. Oh shit! That's
Speaking of disgust, no, that's not a good segue. So in other outrage news, because that is what the internet's for, is keeping up with the latest outrage. Because if you're not outraged as well as everyone else is, then you're falling behind the curve, and you need to keep up.
I give you a solid.
out of what? Okay, well, if you put it that way. So, in the latest outrage news, we've got Elon Musk again, everyone's favorite billionaire lunatic.
Oh man, billionaire gone anime weeb.
Yeah, I mean, so, and this is in the scheme of things, especially considering what kind of common practice we see on YouTube. This is nothing. This is a drop in the pool. But when you're Elon Musk, it you know, you expect a kind of a high degree. Basically,
at least a better God, words keep escaping me, but like you'd expect a bit more gumption to a man who is so massive. You'd think he'd at least have a little bit more, sort of a little bit more tact about him.
Yeah, but he's got that kind of he's kind of got that Donald Trump Twitter where it's like, no matter how powerful the man, it is still a dude who's probably on the John, like dropping a deuce and dropping a tweet, and just like not censoring it or not thinking about how it might, you know, affect the shares of Tesla or how it might affect the American economy. He's just
That's
tweeting.
exactly right. It's just me. I'm just Elon. It's my Twitter, not Tesla's.
It's me, Elon. So
hey, nice to meet you. I'm Elon.
Oh my god, like, and if people don't understand the kind of culture around this is going to be bizarre, but he tweeted an image of a character from a video game, like some fan art, and he with the caption "to be," which is the name of the character. That's how you're like, okay, so he's tweeted an image of a character. Gotcha. And then people in the comments started to blow it up, saying, "Well, who, you know, credit the artist who did this."
Yeah.
You know, who
the main person here looks like it was Tudo Nintendo or Tudo Nintendo S. He was the first person who was like, credit the artist Elon. It was just four words.
Definitely not the first person. I mean, he got in about an hour after, but yeah, like
was it? Oh, okay. He's the standout right now, but okay.
And then Elon, with all of his wisdom, with all of his brain, he responded with, "No," like, so, which is, you know, not that tactful. I mean,
how to lose friends and make other enemies.
Yeah, so it's pretty much just, "This is a nice thing I found," says Elon. "Who made it?" says everyone. "No." Like, anyway, so this, yet again, people are just probably thinking, like, if you don't follow the context, we're like, okay, look, online, artists don't get credited ever. I mean, not ever. That seems a bit, you know, pessimistic.
No, you're not wrong. Like, I've even had that myself. Like, I can put it out there. I've done things where I've Googled an image, taken whatever it was, and just dumped it on another image and just thought, oh, cool, this looks great. And
yeah.
I've never even thought to turn around and say, oh, hey, thank you to this person for drawing the art. Or even worse, worrying to even think about, oh, hey, maybe I should slip this guy a couple bucks or buy something off his DeviantArt or something like that.
Yeah, so
like, I've just taken it and used it.
And I'm the same. I'm actually I'm a quote unquote a visual artist as well. I've drawn, and I will still use people's artworks in my videos and stuff, because sometimes when you find them, you can't find the source. And that was kind of Elon's response, was effectively, he was just saying, he said, I wish people would stop crediting artists. So this is actually verbatim. I wish people would stop crediting artists on Twitter when any fool can find out who the artist was in seconds. It's destroying the medium. Now, I kind of agree. Kind of. That's definitely not a popular opinion here.
Well, I mean, it's purely because when somebody puts that kind of hard-hitting truth, like hard-hitting truths are often not enjoyed, but it has its own validation to it. But it also completely voids the idea of validating somebody's career or attempt at a career of art being an artist.
And in this case, so, and for credit, just to reference, when I say I kind of agree, I agree the fact that if people worry too much about crediting the artist, it can muddy the original creation, which is usually where fair use will step in. In this case with Elon, he has literally just copy-pasted somebody else's artwork, so he probably should have. You know, to say, you know, to be art by this person, it wouldn't have ruined the medium. And more importantly, if somebody then in the comment section says, credit the artist, that's when you're like, okay.
Exactly.
Your medium, the purity of your medium has been tarnished. Just credit the goddamn artist.
You could just turn around and do that whole, I'd credit them, but Twitter doesn't let me edit tweets, so I can't.
I'm in too deep. I couldn't possibly. Yeah, like I think it was it was probably like a month or two ago now. I was watching Twitch, and I saw one of my drawings being used as promotional artwork for a competitive CSGO team.
It was the Drop Bear one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was for the Sydney Drop Bears, and I saw it, and it was more like just confusion than anything. But like, I was just thinking, and the main reason I didn't follow that through is that it's the internet. I have been kind of conditioned to a point where if I see somebody else's work getting used online, I just go, yeah, that's kind of the norm.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what Elon's done here, is that he's so used to just seeing, here's an artwork made by somebody else. I want to use it. I see everyone else using other people's stuff. This is now mine.
Yeah, that's right. Like, why? Well, yeah, why can't I? Well, everyone else does it. Why can't I? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And actually, don't forget though, after he'd had this massive bit, he put out a tweet that literally just encompassed. It was obviously to stir the pot, but the way he put it was, no one should be credited with anything ever.
Yeah, and yeah, he's just got away with words.
Oh, gee, does he what?
So then you know, insert X many thousand responses, and he goes, and they made another tweet, always credit everyone. And
which, you know, if I've ever seen a backpedal in my life, I've never seen such a backpedal, which is like people looking at a green wall and you walk up and be like, that wall is blue. Everyone's like, no, that wall is clearly green. And then you walk up afterwards and be like, actually, no, that wall is green. And they're just leaving. Done. Cool.
At this point, he may as well say that wall can be any color besides blue. Like, this is a full 180.
It is every color at once that isn't blue, or a tint or a hue of blue.
He anyway, so then in classic Elon style, he deleted all the tweets, changed his Twitter icon to a black heart or something.
Yeah.
Like an absolute angsty teenager. Like, I would expect this stuff on MySpace. Like,
look, man, Tom is still there for us. He still is there now.
Tom?
Tom, it's the one friend everybody had on MySpace.
Oh, I'd never used MySpace.
Oh, what?
Yeah, no, that was my one that I always looked at it going, I don't get it, and I still don't get it. Like,
look, it's almost like MySpace was basically if somebody took Facebook. Actually, no, it's more like if somebody took Google Plus, if you know the platform or
Come
the
on,
interface of Google+.
I never use MySpace, as if I use Google Plus.
Okay, good, because I didn't use it either. The only reason I knew about it is because when you make a YouTube channel, you get a Google Plus, or you did before they shut it down. Oh, excuse me. The other thing is if you have a Reddit page, and it's like if somebody had a Reddit page with music playing in the background at all times.
Oh, yeah.
And fused it with a Facebook page.
Yeah, what happened to MySpace? Was that owned by Yahoo?
I don't know who it's owned by now, but it got bought out by somebody. But I will never forget, just like how MySpace was effectively just superseded. It just got power creeped out by Facebook.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it also looked like a terrible website. I don't know. I never used it. I can't really comment.
You could use HTML and stuff on it. It was ridiculous. You could edit so much stuff. People used to have full-on proper, like, playable HTML-based games and stuff on their MySpace. People used to make heaps of friends. It was like, imagine if you had a business account on Facebook, like a business page, and you could just have games on there. So people would just like and follow your page, not for what you said, but for the games you have on it.
Oh my god, I'm just looking out the window of the Tavern right now, and by the looks of it, MySpace is still alive. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it actually, that's what I'm saying. It still is. It's it's only worth something like 27 million now. No, it's still out there floating through the internet space.
Yeah, probably looked at by like 3 people a year. I'm one of those 3 people.
You know what I love though? Tom is still sitting on that. He's sitting on MySpace right now, even though there's nobody there with him or nobody wants to talk to him. Even the people on there with him, he just sits there and smiles. He's not a sad boy.
Tom is like that Tamagotchi that you never fed ever again, or that Nintendo you never walked.
My Nintendogs, I lost them in 2008 and I can't find them.
Oh my god. I'm sorry to break it to you, Reese. Your Nintendogs are gone.
Here's something for you. Random trivia for anybody knowing. If you didn't feed or water your Nintendogs or play with them and you left them alone for too long and you turn on the game, if all of your dogs could run away. They literally had a function.
I feel like that was back when the internet didn't debunk these things quick enough. I feel like that's not true.
No, it happened. I've had it.
Sure.
Your dogs can run away. You'll turn on the game and it'll say whatever you named your dog. Like, my dog Fuckstick ran away. Actually, no, it wasn't. My dog was called Rowdy, but my dog ran away, and it was like Rowdy ran away, and that's what it'll say. And if you lose all of your dogs, it'll take you to the the pound place where you can pick up a dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or if you didn't have any dogs, I don't actually know what happens there, but if you had other dogs in the kennels, you'd go and pick up one of your dogs.
Yeah, the bartender just informed me that they can run away, but they'll come back later if you give them a gift. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just didn't bother. I didn't look. Oh, my poor husky.
Wow. The dog was doing one of those, like, no, he'll call me back. And he just didn't.
He tried to call a bluff that I didn't even have. Too bad. It's probably out in a park somewhere, probably like half buried under some soil right now.
Probably,
I haven't seen that dog in years. Sorry, the Rowdy, the Siberian Husky. Sorry, bro.
With your 8-bit fleas and your...
Yeah.
Anyway, so, like, on the topic of neglect, let's talk about the Rooster Teeth animation division.
Yeah! Oh, damn.
Yeah, that was a smooth segue, James. Oh, thanks.
Well
lads.
done, James. Yeah, James, you did really good today. Well done, man. I'm really happy.
Oh, my God. The usual quiet tenants of the Tavern are so loud today.
Yeah, that one guy over there who sounds like he's a prepubescent boy.
Yeah, he's deflating. Okay, so Rooster Teeth, for anyone, I guess, I mean, the Rooster Teeth was originally just a YouTube channel from all the way back. Apparently, it was founded in 2003, and now is just a huge business. They are one of those
massive.
They've employed, I think it's like over 400 employees or something by now. They have managed to make a video medium that has separated from YouTube. They still use YouTube, but they have their own website, and that is commendable more than, like, PewDiePie and stuff are the biggest creators on the platform, sure, but they're still tied to the platform. If that ship sinks, so do they. The fact that Rooster Teeth has managed to leave and not only sustain is insane.
But not just sustain, they grew.
They're massive.
Their following is beyond cult. Like it's
think
it's
about
crazy.
Supernova every year. Supernova and whatever that one that
they
happens
have
in Australia.
the RT Expo. Like they
That's
have
the one.
that.
Yeah, RTX. Yeah, that's the one. Like I get so blown away by that. But mostly, for all intents and purposes, Rooster Teeth are known as internet good guys because of the things like the work they've made. It's mostly free to access.
Yeah, and I could not say that I didn't adore them growing up, and even now I still listen to their podcasts and stuff. It's not that you should listen to this podcast on loop.
That's exactly right. Loop, but rate 5 on every single account you've got on Facebook. And by Facebook, I mean iTunes.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Like Red vs. Blue was a huge part of online production back in the day. Now, what they've got now is a company. They basically have a animation division of X many people. I'm not sure how many, but they are animating a series, Red vs. Blue, Ruby, a animated series which is just like little animatics of their podcast, a new series, well, relatively new, called Camp, Nomad of Nowhere, and a brand new one, Genlock. That is a lot of series for a company of only 400 odd people to run.
That's actually massive, considering
and that's the company that's that big, not the animation division.
Well, when you think about it, like Rooster Teeth, I think it's divided up into like 5 subheadings, like Achievement Hunter. I can't think of the rest right now, but I know that
they've got like there's also Funhouse. There's Sugar Pine 7 who left recently. So that's me cracking open this can of worms. So the problem
I can't believe
is
they didn't even pour you a pint. They gave you a can.
No, I bring my own cans. So the problem is
they're real nice here.
To cut to it, people are upset that Rooster Teeth has been kind of perpetuating, and not relying on, but they've accidentally developed this, what people are calling now crunch culture, which I'm all about. Not what it is, but I love like alliteration. It runs off the tongue. 10 out of 10. People are quoting tons of hours, unpaid overtime every week to get these animations out the door, which most larger companies, this is nothing new.
It always sneaks its way in there somewhere. It's just more the fact that a lot of people, especially, and this is more a personal thing, but it's so widespread it could almost be looked at as this is what happens in companies, where it's people just do a little bit of unpaid overtime here and there to get something done, and they're like, it's not worth it, I'll just leave it.
Yeah, and like that's, and especially animation. Animation is a awful space for that. If you remember, Sausage Party came out a few years ago. That dumpster fire of a movie.
Sausage Party.
They just had animators coming in and out of the door like a goddamn carousel, not paying them, charging tons of, like, not paying for all this overtime, and saying if you don't work this unpaid overtime, then you're fired. And they would pretty much push that person until they say, well, this is unsustainable, I've actually got to earn a job, and then they'll leave and go, sweet, we don't have to pay that guy. Next guy. Like, animation is a bad spot for that. I don't think that Rooster Teeth has intentionally developed that. I don't think they're trying to do this. But when they've got so many animations on the go at any one time, which I understand, like, you've got different people working in different departments. For example, Camp is a 2D animation, and then you've got Red vs. Blue and Genlock, which are 3D animations. You wouldn't have that many people crossing over there, or I guess in this case, considering the size of the industry, they probably are.
Well, that's right. I mean, I look at Ruby as well, which is the only out of all those animations, I'll be honest, is the only one that I'm familiar with too well. But I look at it and I think they, from season 1 to whatever the hell season they're up to now, they've updated and increased the animation, or at least improved, I should say, not increased, improved the animation so heavily that they've either got new people in who can do it, or they've figured out how to do it.
Okay. Well, I will actually, like, this is a more of like a minor quarrel with that series. Not a quarrel, but they have I haven't watched latest stuff, I'll be honest, full disclosure. But they had like a software that they use for most of their face rigging and stuff that seemed kind of set in stone. I don't know how much they were actually advancing on that. I think that their advancements were more about, I guess, less corner cutting but like just production speed.
Yeah, okay, fair.
You know, more than
I'll
actual
be
animation
completely
quality.
honest, the amount of motion tweens in fucking Ruby Season 1, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like, for anyone that doesn't know, I studied animation for a couple of years, and watching Ruby, I think the story and the characters and the concepts and stuff are great. The actual animation quality, I mean, I can understand how a small team could produce that. And that's not saying it's a bad series. It is just,
If you like it, you like it. You know, it's like it's like when people say, you know, it's like, she's not much special, but she's mine. That's kind of how I feel people like Ruby. They sort of have that attitude where it's like, it's not the best of anything, but I like it.
Yeah, it's almost as if they were using this animation technique to tell the story rather than telling a story. Like, rather than I'm wording this like an absolute chimp. They had the story and they approached it with the equipment they had available, rather than working them with each other.
100%. I agree with that big time.
That was worded awfully.
No, but it made enough sense. It got through to my chimp brain, which is smaller than yours. So, you know.
We just got two chimp brains rattling around in here.
We're sitting here doing podcast. You know, the fucking the pub here is, you know, really great. So I'm glad they even let me in. I thought I walked in once and they were like, "Welcome to the Tavern. How does it go?" And I was like, my train is swimming in my piano. And they're like, "Cool, you need more beer then, son." I was like, "Thank you."
I've talked to the bouncer. They just haven't figured out how to get rid of you yet. So the Rooster Teeth CEO, a bloke called Matt Hollum, they responded to this because, I mean, this is one of those things where it's all about PR. You've got to... It's not all about PR. They should be trying to fix the problem as well. But he said, "We acknowledge that we could have better managed our animation pipeline, and we apologize to all that have been affected." He said, effectively, that they're working on it.
But we're making so much money!
I mean, I'm assuming they are. You'd hope they are. If they're working people to burnout, you'd hope that they're making so much money.
Yeah, actually, you know, I agree with that. I agree with that big time. Like, I want to put a very... This is probably... Actually, no, I can't say it's probably. I think it's an unpopular opinion. But I enjoy seeing big businesses succeed and flourish. Not even locals, just a big business like even Rooster Teeth. Maybe because they were small and they grew.
Especially Rooster Teeth. Were you ever kind of a fanboy of their company?
I'll be completely honest, when somebody told me about Rooster Teeth back in the day, I thought it was somebody trying to make fun of me or make fun of the fact that I didn't know something, and I thought it was quite literally somebody making a joke about the saying rare as like hen's teeth.
Yeah.
And I just didn't bother looking it up.
But
I thought the same thing of fucking Portal 1 and Portal 2 by the end of it. I thought that they were 2D side-scrollers because I played a Flash game once, and I thought that's what everyone was hung up about.
I played that too. Surprisingly good 2D Flash game. They probably could have produced that into a full game. Anyway, Rooster Teeth, which I don't know if I referenced last time, but people subconsciously create good guys and bad guys in the online space. People do it with any media that they consume. Some people, maybe if you're a Marvel fanboy, you're like, "Oh, DC. DC.
I don't like DC."
And if you're one of those people that reads a hard copy newspaper, maybe you look at, you know, Kotaku and you're like, "Ugh, look at those online journalists don't have a pen and paper. Ugh."
Well, I mean, if you're reading any hard copy newspaper in Australia that isn't your local, it's liberals. I
mean, cop that, everyone who reads. But I feel like anyone that's fans of Rooster Teeth likes to think of them as the good guys. Anyone that has studied animation, has animated, or worked in the industry knows how devastating this crunch culture is, and it sucks. It sucks to look at your idols and think that they're not like that. They're the bad guys in any story, you know?
Yeah, and you know, look, I'll put it this way. This is something like I've had a lot of experience in my life of being a part of a management team. I'm pretty lucky that I've been, I'm as young as I am, and I've been through so many jobs, mainly contractual situations, where I wasn't a permanent employee, but I was a part of management teams a lot. And this is something that I've always knew about, which always frustrated me about a lot of companies, is putting somebody who is the head of a department who is not experienced in that department. And I look at somebody, for instance, like just a generic slave driver, goes to try and work in the animation department, doesn't understand how animation works, doesn't understand what goes into it, or the amount of time that could go into even animating a single scene. Like, 100 frames at 24 frames a second is, what's that, like, just shy of 5, or just more than 5 seconds, like, just shy of 5 seconds. Like,
yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if they're talking about 3D or 2D with this complaint of the crunch culture, but I'm assuming if it's the animation department, it's probably being seen in multiple aspects.
That's right. Well, regardless of which, that sort of just backs up what I was saying, is that it's like, when you look at it, something like a department of any sort of animation, and the person that's managing them doesn't have any experience in animating, animating in any way. I don't know why I put the inflection on animating. It's just like a poor manager in general. And it's not because the manager might be terrible. It's just because, I'm not going to put myself in and try and say that I'm really good at managing a nurse's station, because I have no idea what it comes down to. I don't know. It's like, I've got no training in that regard. There'd be no point me putting there, because I'd hear somebody be like, oh, they broke their arm, and somebody'd sit there and say they've got some sort of cardioid crazy heart problem, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know if that's good.
Cardioid crazy. That's
like
a real problem.
Cardioid. Yeah, like I hate it when people install microphones in their heart. Oh.
Yeah.
But I meant cardio, but I said cardioid. Basically, it's like, put people on the job that they're for, and they haven't put anything, but I'd almost put money on crunch culture coming from a manager who wants to see the work done, but doesn't understand how the work gets done. So basically, what's happening...
Did you read the response by Hulam?
No, I haven't.
It's funny because he just said that with them working to fix this, they're looking at getting effectively more experienced people, leaders and like into their workflow. Like that's what you're saying right now, where the managers are capable of managing but maybe are completely unaware of the actual production element. That is what they're working on, is getting experienced people in there.
Oh, shit. Well, it sounds like I know my stuff then.
Well, it sounds like they know exactly how to play their PR. And I don't think they're playing it as in like a coy. I think they're actually just they know how to fix the problem.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I've worked with people that you if you're filming and they say, "Oh, we'll fix it in post." Oh my god, it's like, oh, you're gee, oh. There's probably a bunch of people that have maybe worked as if you've ever worked as a contracted filmer or animator, and they just say, "Oh, we'll fix it on the editing floor." It's like, oh my god, you do not understand. You can't comprehend.
Can you just mask him out?
Yeah, like,
sorry.
they stuffed that up. Can you just maybe like edit that and do the maybe some more assets that we don't have? It's like, great. Thank you.
Oh, bruh.
I was working on this one production where we're trying to get it done in a short amount of time. I ran around, collected a bunch of recording equipment, boom mic, I think there's a couple of Zoom, maybe H5s, and then they went off to film. And I was off doing something else. I came back, and all of the recording equipment I'd collected was sitting on the table.
Oh!
And I was thinking, and I was trying to, I knew the answer, but I said, where are they? Oh, they're out filming. Why is the audio equipment here? Oh, they said they'll just do all the audio in post. And I was the editor. I was like the lead editor. And I'm thinking like, you've just added like hours, just straight hours to this production for no particular reason. Just because the person that made the call, let's leave that audio equipment there, it's hard for us to work with, so we'll do it in post. That decision making, which was made not out of experience but out of just like winging it, caused
out of sheer laziness by the sound of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think Rooster Teeth was doing this. I don't think that they had some dude who's an occupational pen pusher who happened to be leading the animation. I think the animation staff are self-taught. I know that they're dedicated. Some of the stuff that they produced in the amount of time that they had is insane. But yeah, at a certain point, you need that experienced person. You need that, and I think that's kind of what Rooster Teeth didn't have. Growing from the ground up is that every person that was there for as long as possible got spread thinner and thinner. At the beginning, they had like the OGs, you had Michael and Gus and all this kind of stuff. And as they spread out, when they had 3 employees, it's like, sweet, you can look after one of the employees each, or 2 each.
Yeah, that's right.
They're looking at 400 plus employees at this point. Those OG crew, these people with years of experience, just can't. Especially, I don't think, like when you're talking about something as niche as animation, there's a lot of people that can't help out with animation.
That's actually, you know what? I think that's actually a really good point, and I feel like it's very. Animation is one of those things. It's similar to music to me. It's like, if you've practiced your craft, if you've done everything you can do to get to that point, there's nobody who hasn't had the experience that can just come in and understand what's going on.
Yeah.
It's very, I don't know, it seems very interesting how, especially Rooster Teeth, a somewhat creatively based company that began small but still creative, sort of let this happen for so long. Again, look, I don't want to put it out there and say that this is like this big thing that's been happening forever, because it's really not. And a lot of people...
that we know of. This is something that has been raised recently as something that should have been addressed sooner.
And the fact that when they use words like every, right? Because they said every season of Ruby and Genlock gets about a third or less made for free because nobody gets paid overtime. And that was a statement. Yeah, exactly. A third or less. Which, look, a third is 30%. That's pretty hefty. Like,
can you imagine losing a third of your paycheck, though? Because, I mean...
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Look, the stats that come out, which is generally something interesting, which is typically companies that, especially in America, I don't know about modern law, but American law, people who are paid roughly 50 grand or more can be contracted in their actual work contracts and work conditions to have lenient unpaid overtime.
Yeah.
And I don't know the American law, but I'm almost considering lenient to be anything less than half, or anything less than 50% work hours. So if you work 8 hours in a day and you work 4 hours as overtime, I wouldn't put it past what's happened in the American capitalized society that 50% or less would be considered lenient. Even if it's 30% for that matter. Let's put 30% on the title, like they've used here. 30%.
I think it's...
What's 30% of 8? That's
it's
what
also
goes in
weird
it.
to
It's
cut
like
it
2 and a
into...
bit.
It's also weird to cut it into a third, too, considering that animation isn't as simple as somebody... animation isn't like a script where you've written... 600 words and then you're not paid for 300. It's not that linear.
Yeah.
Animation can be... You can work on backgrounds, which technically hasn't added to your keyframe animation at all, but you've still spent, hundreds of hours on it.
Which, funnily enough, speaking of keyframes, you could be, it's like when you buy a key, like, if you ever seen it where people buy a $700 Disney keyframe.
Oh, an animation cell.
Cell of animation. They get Mickey's hand.
Yes.
And it's like, you look at that and you think, could you imagine being the dude that had to draw the boat for Steamboat Willie and the person that had to draw his hand in grabbing the steering wheel? Like,
yeah, and back then, it was a bit more linear. And back then, each animator was considered a master of their class, and you would go to them and say, you make the best animation. Some of those, the Disney classics, the animators behind stuff like back in the day, God, it's escaping me now. I watched it literally yesterday. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first feature-length color animation. These guys were so talented at their craft that one of them could be in charge of multiple people that would do the in-betweens. You got your keyframes, which are the main parts, and the in-betweens are like the kind of, well, the smearing and the blurring and the in-between frames. Literally.
I think one of my favorite descriptions of keyframing was, it was in a behind the scenes for the Drawn Together movie, which was, we draw this frame and this frame, and then we send it off to Korea to get kids to do it there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's where a lot of the industry is at the moment. Legend of Korra, the latest Avatar: Last Airbender, is phenomenal,
Yes!
really good.
Yeah.
They literally just sent a small handful of people from Nickelodeon, and they're just like, you're working with these people that honestly are working for less per hour than the American animators, and that's
exactly right. And they do a pretty fucking good job.
Which, to their credit, Rooster Teeth hasn't done. I think it's all still in-house, and that's awesome.
That is actually, yeah. There's no direct evidence of any sort of outsourcing. So if it's all happening in-house, this is people going public to drive or at least generate drama, which causes attention, which makes change.
Yeah, but that change, I feel like we're in a very odd spot with that, because I don't think these people that are saying, I want better working conditions, they're not saying, I want better working conditions or I'm out of here. I think they're saying, I want better working conditions. People have started to boycott Rooster Teeth. You know, they're getting rid of their
the premium memberships or whatever for the website.
Yeah, at Rooster Teeth, like that's kind of how it works. But I think it was the division head of animation stepped down from the Rooster Teeth animation department. They stepped down, so that means that person has actually said, "I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Now,
if I'm not doing it, get someone better.
I feel really bad for anyone out there that's gone, I'm working really hard to make sure this gets out the door. And then in response, I feel really bad for these people that are working balls to the wall to get this animation out of the way. And then people are like, boycott them. That'll fix it. It's like, okay, well, slow down. Let this get resolved first. I think that this isn't something that's going to be resolved overnight. They probably couldn't afford to pay these animators for these hours that don't really exist.
That's actually a really interesting point.
But what do you do? Well, you need to see change, and as something that's paying them, you go with your subscription. You go, well, I'll take my subscription away. That'll enact change. Will it? Well, we don't know. Because when are you going to know that they are or aren't getting paid properly?
Yeah, that's true, actually. Until all the employees come out and be like, yep, it's all solved.
Yeah, exactly. What do they want?
It's like, this is like a union strike, but the union strike is, we want it to be better. And they're like, what do you want to be better? And it's like, it needs to be better.
Fix it, please. And
fix the problem. What's the problem? Just fix it.
And I think in this case, the problem would be to pay these people for their overtime, which they probably won't be doing, because then you're going to incur other problems, right? Because when it's overtime unpaid, somebody could be working at 2 a.m. If you're paying somebody a 9 to 5 and suddenly they're going home at 4 a.m., you're paying a lot more for penalty rates for all kinds of reasons. Penalty rates because they've passed certain times and it's too late in the day. Penalty rates because they've worked too many hours that day. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking out my ass. But
no. What you're speaking about there is very true, which makes sense for Australia. I actually don't quite know if America works that same way.
Yeah, and I think so. Basically, the only way that we can be sure to fix this is hire more people. Now,
which actually technically makes sense. Actually, hang on. There's something really interesting. Apparently, there's been an announcement that not many people knew about until this came to light. Elation Animation Studios, which apparently is a sibling company, or in other words, some sort of correlated merger, or at least an assistant company to Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
Has been also under fire. So that means this company, I don't know how many animators they've got with them, but that means there's another one that's also under fire.
Oh god. And this, my perspective on this, which is obviously just another part of the problem, but I assume that's a big part of a lot of animation industry, you know?
Yeah, it's subcontracting it out.
Yeah, just subcontracting out, not giving people job security, not giving people a consistent employment. Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty much the creative industry in a nutshell, isn't it? Like, that's basically, it's do your job and be the best at it, or you're pretty much out. Like, there's somebody better than you.
Yeah, and to Rooster Teeth's credit, they haven't gone full sausage party. They're not just sending people out the door. They're pushing their employees too hard, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but Rooster Teeth are the good guys. You want to work at Rooster Teeth, so you stay, and that's the problem. What I think we will see is they will hire more experienced people, and they will hire more experienced people and hopefully employ more people.
Yeah,
if they do that, is yet to be seen. I don't want to look like I'm defending them, because they've obviously done. I mean, at the moment, like, I like, as something that animated for ages, I understand how hard it is, and how difficult it can be to hit deadlines and stuff. But
I feel you. I totally feel you. Look, I'll be honest with you. I remember doing that myself. Like my my end of high school graduation, end of year 12. I remember with the teacher, I did a massive animation, and it was all frame by frame animation in Adobe Flash.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I remember it. And I started this thing off, and it was literally Slender Man versus the Terminator.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah!
It was like the ultimate testosterone fest. Like, I remember starting it, and I started doing this thing, and I remember the biggest pain in my ass. I could animate the hands moving. I could animate all that sort of stuff. That was totally fine. But the thing that killed it for me was animating Slender Man and the tentacles he had on his back moving.
Oh,
and I hated doing that because the boiling on the lines were just all over the place. I just was so sick of it. And I literally, this is not an understatement, because it was 2011, Rage Comics was still a thing. I got, like, I think I did about 300 frames of the animation of the fight, and then it just cuts to a troll face. And it's like, ha ha ha, you thought it was going to be a fight? Just kidding. Get ready for stick figures on crack. And that, I didn't call it that, but it was basically a Robot Chicken style skit thing, where it was like little skits that were divided by a TV static kind of screen.
And there we go. Rooster, I think Reese has just solved it. Just stop animating and just go back to stick figures.
Just go back to 2008 and stick figures on crack, man. Look, Pivot Master DX, I'm waiting for you, man. Hop Diddy, come on. I've been waiting 5 years for this. Let's see it.
So I just finished my drink. Is it still happy hour?
I actually think they're closing up now, man.
This has been Tavern at the End of the Internet. Thank you all so much for listening. You can find us on your favorite subscription site, or on Spotify, Google Play, Apple, Stitcher, or even on your Alexa. James, where can I find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at @Nurchin. That's A space NURCHIN, or an underscore space, whatever, all the same. And where can we find you, Reese?
Fantastic. You can find me on YouTube or on Instagram under Netwinder, or on Twitter under @RealNetwinder. Netwinder spelled NETWINDER.
And if you're listening to this on Stitcher or iTunes, just if you could leave a review, that would be awesome. We've been getting some awesome feedback so far, and we hope to catch you back here next week.
Should be pretty good. I cannot wait for happy hour again. These beers go down a bit too easy, I must admit.
Far too easy this time.
Fantastic. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Catch up.